You were not supposed to be here. That is the first thing you need to understand. Not here, as in reading this. I mean here in this specific emotional coordinates on this exact Tuesday or Wednesday, wearing that specific perfume or cologne you almost did not put on, drinking from that cup you grabbed without thinking. You were not supposed to be in this timeline. There was another version of events, a version where you stayed home, a version where you sent the polite maybe next time text, a version where you took the earlier train or the later one, or called in sick to the party, or said yes to the blind date you said no to. In every other version, you missed it. You missed the turn. The sudden, shocking, universe-altering turn that is about to redefine the shape of your heart. But you are here. And because you are here, everything is about to change. I want to tell you a story, not as a metaphor, as a transmission of something I see so clearly. It feels like I am watching it on a screen I cannot turn off. There is a room, dim, not romantic dim, not candlelit dim, the kind of dim that happens when the overhead bulb flickers and no one has replaced it because everyone who enters this room is too distracted to notice. You are in this room. You are not the center of attention. You are not even trying to be. You are in the corner or near the window or leaning against a surface that is not designed for leaning. You are checking your phone, or you are staring at a stain on the carpet, or you are having a conversation you have already decided is forgettable. And then it happens. The door opens or does not open. Maybe someone walks through a doorway that was already open, but the way they walk through it splits the air like a blade. Maybe the music skips. Maybe the temperature drops 2 degrees and only you feel it. Maybe someone laughs too loud and then stops too suddenly, creating a pocket of silence that sucks all the oxygen toward a single point in space. I do not know which detail will be the trigger for you, Virgo, but I know the feeling. It is the feeling of a script being ripped in half, of a movie projector jamming, melting the film, and when the light returns, the story is no longer the one you bought a ticket for. Who is this person? I am getting air. Strong, disruptive air. Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. But there is something else underneath. Water. Deep, still water that does not announce itself until you step in and realize the current has already taken your feet out from under you. This is someone who has been hiding in plain sight. Not literally hiding, but camouflaged, dressed in the costume of friend or colleague or that person I see sometimes but never really look at. They have been there all along, in your peripheral vision, in your I will text them back later pile, in the background of a group photo you never zoomed in on. And suddenly, tonight, in this flickering room, the costume rips, and what steps out is not the person you filed away in your mental cabinet. It is someone else entirely, someone who has been waiting, someone who has been holding their breath for months, maybe years, waiting for the exact right moment to exhale in your direction. And the turn, the shocking sudden turn, it is not what they say, it is not what they do, it is what you feel in your body. Before your brain has time to form a thought, your body registers a frequency it has never encountered before, or maybe encountered once in a dream you dismissed as meaningless. Your stomach drops, not from fear, from recognition. The kind of recognition that happens when you have been searching for a word for hours and someone says it casually and you realize it was on the tip of your tongue the whole time. That is what this person is. the word you did not know you were looking for, the answer to a question you forgot you asked. I need you to understand how violent this turn will feel. Not physically violent, emotionally violent. The violence of a plot twist in a novel you thought was a romance but is actually a thriller, or a thriller that is actually a love story. You have been living in a genre you defined for yourself, the genre of I am fine alone, or I am healing, or I am waiting for the right one but not really looking. And this person, this air and water creature who has been hiding in your scenery, is about to change the genre without asking permission, without knocking. They are going to walk into your frame and the camera is going to refuse to look away from them, and you will feel a panic that masquerades as irritation. Who gave them the right to be this interesting? Your mind will scream, but your heart will already be leaning forward, elbows on the table, pupils dilated, every cell in your body tuning to a new station. Let me be specific about what this turn looks like, because generalities will not serve you. I see a conversation that starts in one place and ends in another country, emotionally speaking. You are talking about something mundane, work, traffic, a movie you both saw, and then they say something, a sentence so ordinary on the surface that it should float by unnoticed, but underneath it is a depth charge. I have never told anyone this, or you are the only person who would understand, or I had a dream about you last night, and the room tilts, not because the words are dramatic, but because the frequency behind them is. You will feel it in your sternum, a vibration, a tuning fork struck against the bone of who you are, and you will respond, not with your usual Virgo precision, not with your carefully measured empathy. You will respond with something raw, something unedited, a laugh that is too loud, a silence that is too long, a confession that you did not plan to make and cannot take back. That is the turn. The moment when both of you realize simultaneously that the floor has dissolved and you are falling through a trapdoor into a room that has no exit, I am hearing that this turn will involve a revelation about their past. Not a tragic revelation, though it might feel tragic to them. Something they have carried like a stone in their shoe. A relationship that ended badly. A choice they regret. A version of themselves they buried so deep they thought the grave was permanent. And they are going to show it to you. Not because they are drunk, though alcohol might be present. Not because they are emotional, though their hands will shake, but because your energy field has created a space where their secrets feel safe enough to breathe. They will look at you, and in your eyes they will see the absence of judgment. And that absence will be so unfamiliar, so intoxicating, that they will keep pulling out stones, one after another, until their hands are full of everything they have been hiding, and they will hold them out to you not as a burden, but as an offering. Here, this is what I am. This is what I have been. Do you still want to know me? And your answer, Virgo, will shock you more than it shocks them. Because you will say yes. Not a conditional yes, not a let me think about it yes. A full body, full soul, no turning back yes. And the moment you say it, the turn completes. The axis of your world shifts. You are no longer two people having a conversation. You are two people standing on the edge of a cliff that did not exist 5 minutes ago, looking down at an ocean that just appeared out of nowhere and deciding to jump together. That is the sudden turn, the shocking turn, the turn that changes your address, your sleep schedule, your taste in music, your relationship with your own reflection. But here is what makes this truly shocking. It is not just them. It is you. You are about to reveal something to yourself that you have kept hidden, even from your own awareness. I feel it pressing against your ribs like a bird trying to break out of an egg. You have been telling yourself a story about what you need, what you deserve, what you are capable of receiving. And this story has been beautifully written, elegantly argued, supported by evidence from your past. I need stability. I need someone who is already healed. I need predictability because unpredictability hurts me. These sentences have been your mantra, your shield, and this person, this disruptive, genre-changing, plot-twisting human is going to obliterate every one of them. Not by arguing, not by proving you wrong, simply by existing in your space in a way that makes your old story sound like a fairy tale told to a child who is now old enough for the truth. The truth is, you do not need stability. You need someone who is willing to be unstable with you. You do not need someone healed. You need someone who is brave enough to bleed in front of you. You do not need predictability. You need someone who makes the unpredictable feel like an adventure instead of a threat. And you will realize this not in a moment of quiet meditation, but in the middle of chaos. In the middle of the turn, when the car is already skidding, and instead of bracing for impact, you find yourself laughing. Laughing because for the first time in years, you feel alive, really alive. Not the curated aliveness of a good workout or a productive day, the wild, untamed aliveness of not knowing what happens next and not caring because the not knowing is shared. I want to speak about the timeline because time is going to behave strangely around this turn. For some of you, this happens within days. For others, it has already happened and you are reading this in the aftermath, your hands still shaking, your coffee cold because you forgot you made it. But for most of you, it is hovering. A storm front on the horizon that the weather apps cannot detect. You will feel it before it arrives. A restlessness, a sense that your current routine is a sweater that has shrunk in the wash. Nothing fits anymore. Not because anything has changed externally, but because internally you have outgrown the container. And that restlessness is the signal. The universe clearing its throat before the announcement. Pay attention to it. Do not medicate it with busyness. Do not explain it away as stress or hormones or Mercury doing whatever Mercury does. It is the pre-turn, the moment before the roller coaster drops. And if you are paying attention, you will see the signs. The signs look like this. You keep seeing their name, or a name that sounds like theirs, in places it should not be. A book falls open to a page that describes your exact situation. A song comes on that you have not heard in years, and the lyrics are a direct message. You dream about them, but in the dream they are not doing anything dramatic. They are just there, sitting in a chair that does not belong in the landscape of your subconscious, reading a book, looking at you, waiting, and when you wake up, the dream does not fade. It stays. It haunts your morning shower. It sits in your passenger seat on the drive to work. It is not a dream. It is a preview, a trailer for the movie you are about to star in. I also feel that this turn will expose something in your environment that you have been ignoring. A friendship that is not a friendship. A situation that has been draining you while pretending to sustain you. When the turn happens, when this person steps into the light and the camera locks on them, you will suddenly see the background with terrible clarity. The fake supporter who has been subtly undermining your confidence. The ex who has been keeping a foothold in your life through nostalgia and guilt, the job or obligation that has been consuming your energy without replenishing it. The turn does not just bring love, it brings vision. It brings the kind of 20/20 clarity that hurts because it requires action. You will have to clean house. Not physically, though you might. Energetically, you will have to look at the people and patterns that do not fit in the new story and release them, some gently, some abruptly, some with a conversation that feels like a breakup even though it is not a romance. And it will be painful, but it will be necessary because the turn requires space. It requires a clear runway. And you cannot build a new life on a foundation cluttered with the debris of the old one. Let me tell you about the person who is not happy about this, because there is always someone, not a villain in a cape, a villain in a smile, someone who has benefited from your ambiguity, who liked knowing that you were available but not committed, who enjoyed the power of being your almost. This person feels the turn before you announce it. They sense the shift in your energy the way a predator senses a change in the wind, and they will act. They will suddenly become more attentive. They will offer things they never offered before. They will try to anchor you to the shore just as the current is pulling you toward the open sea. Do not mistake their urgency for love. It is panic. It is the panic of someone who realizes their lease on your attention is about to expire. Be kind to them if you can, but do not let them tie you down. The turn is not a negotiation. It is a force of nature. And forces of nature do not ask for permission. I am seeing something else. A physical object that becomes a symbol. A book, a key, a piece of paper with handwriting on it. Something that is passed from their hand to yours in a moment that feels ordinary until you look back and realize it was the hinge, the moment the door swung open. The object itself is not valuable in a monetary sense, but it is charged. It carries the voltage of intention, of risk, of I am giving you this because I do not know what else to do with my feelings, and this is the only language I have. You will hold it later alone, and your hands will shake. Not because you are scared, because you are awake, really awake. And being awake after a long sleep is disorienting. The light hurts. The air tastes different. You will not know what to do with yourself for a while. That is normal. That is the adjustment period. Give yourself permission to be clumsy in your new awareness. There is a specific scene I need to describe because it keeps playing on repeat in my third eye. You and this person alone, not in a romantic setting, in a setting that should be neutral, a parking garage, a laundromat, a waiting room with uncomfortable chairs, and a television playing a show no one is watching. And something breaks, not an object, a barrier. Maybe they say something vulnerable. Maybe you do. Maybe there is a silence that stretches so long it becomes a conversation. And then one of you moves, not toward the other, just moves. A shift in posture, a hand that finds a hand, an eye contact that lasts 1 second too long to be friendly. And in that second, the turn locks into place. The gears engage. The machinery of whatever this is begins to hum. And you both know. You know without speaking. You know with the certainty of a dream you cannot wake up from. This is not a passing thing. This is not a flirtation. This is a redirection, a complete rewiring of your emotional GPS, and there is no undo button. I want to address the fear because it will be loud. The fear will tell you that this is too fast, that you do not know them well enough, that you are projecting, that you are lonely and seeing patterns that are not there. The fear will bring evidence. It will cite your past. It will remind you of the last time you felt this way and how it ended. It will speak in the voice of your most cautious friend, your most protective parent, your most cynical self. And every word it says will be logical. Every argument will be sound. But logic is not the right tool for this moment. This moment requires intuition. It requires the part of you that knows things before it knows why it knows them. The part that recognized their frequency before your mind had time to file it under interesting. That part does not argue. It simply nods. It simply opens the door. And your job is to trust it even while your fear is screaming that the house is on fire. The house is not on fire. The house is being renovated. The walls you thought were load-bearing are being knocked down to reveal a much larger space than you imagined. A space with windows you did not know existed, letting in light from directions you did not know the sun could travel. It will be messy. There will be dust. You will cough. You will wonder if you should have just stayed in the smaller, darker room you knew, but you will not go back. Because once you have seen the size of the space you are meant to inhabit, the old room feels like a coffin, and you are too alive for coffins now. I am also sensing that this turn will affect your creative life, or your work, or the thing you do that is not your job, but is your purpose. This person is not just a romantic event. They are a catalyst, a chemical additive that changes the color of the flame. You will find yourself thinking differently, speaking differently, dressing differently, maybe. Not because they asked you to, but because their presence in your field unlocks a version of you that was waiting for the right frequency to activate. You will take risks you would not have taken. You will say yes to opportunities you would have declined. You will create things you did not know you had in you. Because love, real love, is not a distraction from your purpose. It is the fuel. And this turn is going to fill your tank with something high octane and explosive and completely terrifying to the part of you that prefers a steady, predictable burn. There is a warning I must embed in this transmission, not to scare you, but to prepare you. The turn is sudden, yes, but the path after the turn is not straight. It is a switchback, a mountain road with sharp curves and no guardrails. There will be moments when you are sure you have made a terrible mistake, when the person who seemed so clear in the flickering room seems murky in the daylight, when the connection that felt like destiny feels like confusion. These moments are not signs that the turn was wrong. They are signs that you are both human, that the plot twist was just the opening scene, and now the real work of the story begins. Do not abandon the narrative because the second act is harder than the first. The best stories are not the ones where everything is easy. They are the ones where everything is true, and truth is rarely comfortable. You will need to communicate in ways you have not practiced. You will need to say the scary thing before it festers. You will need to ask for what you need without apology. You will need to let them see you ugly, tired, sick, jealous, insecure, the version of you that does not perform well because the turn brought you together, but only authenticity will keep you together. And authenticity is a skill. It is not a feeling. It is a practice. You will practice it with this person day after day until it becomes your native language. And when it does, you will look back at the person you were before the turn and barely recognize her. She will seem like a character in a book you read long ago, a book that was beautiful but small. And you are no longer small. I want to close with an image, not the garden from before, not the stage, something else. A road at night, a long, straight road that suddenly curves where the map says it should keep going straight. You are in the passenger seat, and this person is driving. You do not know where the curve leads. The headlights only illuminate the next 100 feet, but you are not afraid. You are holding their hand, your palm is sweating, so is theirs, and you are both smiling. Not because you know the destination, but because you have finally accepted that the destination was never the point. The point is the curve, the sudden, shocking, universe-altering curve that took you from one life to another without asking if you were ready. You were not ready. You will never be ready, but you are here. And the road is unfolding, and the night is dark, and the hand in yours is real. And that, Virgo, is everything. Drive. Do not ask for the map. There is no map. There is only the road, the curve, the hand, and the dark. And somewhere in the dark, your new life is waiting with the lights on, the door open, and a name on the mailbox you have not learned yet, but will soon be unable to imagine living without. Take the turn. It is already happening. You are already in it. The only choice left is whether you close your eyes or keep them wide open. I know which one you will choose. You have never been good at looking away. And that is why the universe chose you for this, because it needed someone brave enough to watch the plot twist unfold and say, finally, thank God. Thank God it was not the story I thought I wanted. Thank God it was the story I needed. Welcome to the turn. Welcome to the shock. Welcome to the life you did not plan but will not trade for anything. Keep your eyes open. The scenery is about to get unforgettable.